What do you know about your workplace that you are not supposed to know? Old job. Those shiny new fume hoods and laminar flow cabinets didn't actually have working vents. My boss is faking a recovery program, hit her ex-husband with a car, and is never going to change or get fired because she's the owner's daughter who can't do anything about her. Not really something I'm not meant to know, but more something the public aren't meant to know about an old place of work. The vegetarian roasts aren't vegetarian. We know what they use their laptops for, and what kinds of sick porn you watch. Some users download and stream it. We can see what's hogging the network bandwidth, yo. I just pray the keyboards don't get return sticky when they quit. My former boss, who is married, had sex in his office with multiple employees. Shit leadership skills. He came from a naval background, didn't have a bloody clue what he was talking about unless it was Navy stuff. Office supervisor had fuck buddies in the office. He would let them get away with murder in exchange for sexual favors. He would always talk about how much he got paid compared to everyone else. Never wanted to help anyone or give a shit. The entire department is a complete shit show. The good bunch of people who made the place decent either left or constantly got fucked over. Hard workers never got a thank you. The bed bugs in the hotel beds are not isolated to one room anymore. The CEO does coke before public speaking. At a place that I used to work, I was the only person with any IT smarts. I set up the spam filter to forward to my inbox any maybe emails that it caught, which I would then look at and forward on if they weren't spam. On 2 occasions I was forwarded an email receipt for Viagra which one of my colleagues had purchased with his work email address. I just deleted them rather than forward on because it's just easier that way. From my last job. Under no circumstances are you even to look at what's going on in the other half of the plant. What was going on? They were building an automated side. Got replaced by a robot a year later. After reading the other stuff, mine is kinda boring. But I spend company money on an ice cream machine that I hide in my office. Edit. This thing blew up more than expected. Thanks. Edit. 2 gold was unexpected. Thank you a million times. That at my zero drug tolerance workplace, the CEO's executive assistant and the head of ours do coke on weekends together. So I know when they're not going out that weekend there'll be a workplace drug test the end of the next week. My boss's boss doesn't flush, pees on the toilet seat, and doesn't wash her hands after using the bathroom. Unfortunately I know this firsthand. Edit. Apparently this knowledge is not as common as I thought. Some women cover the seat in toilet paper and then sit down, and some just squat or hover over the seat to avoid touching it. The squatting technique is not always successful because sometimes pee sprays. You're welcome. Also, I know a way to enter the building easily after it is locked up at 10 PM. And I once accidentally saw the salary of a division head instead of mine. In USD it would be about 26,000 gross per month. Not a current job, but at a past job, my manager quit and the CEO gave me access to his emails, so I could find information about how to do projects he only knew about. I started looking for all the salary information from all the co-workers on my team. Found out I was being paid significantly less than the person who previously had my position. I went and negotiated about a 40% raise with the CEO, based on that information. That in March next year the company I work for will lose the contract to provide catering, and all employees will probably lose their job. I can't sleep at night. I can't look them in the eyes. The company that contracts us has already started negotiating with another contractor, and I'm friends with someone high up in that company. They've told me to get out as soon as possible. My boss doesn't even know. I have been dropping hints, but I don't know what to do. If I can I will find new jobs for my team. There are 2 separate teams, and I manage one before then and encourage them to put in an application, but I can't make them. Edit. To add some info and correct. I should not have said all employees as this is technically not correct. I had my team in mind when I said that. My boss has other business interests within the state and local area. He will be relatively fine, as will the chefs of the business. They cook for multiple venues, though they may find themselves with less hours. I'm not withholding this information lightly. If I tell my company what I know, I will most definitely jeopardize my friend's job. It is known that we are friends by some people in his company. Those that are most likely to be losing their jobs are the service staff, mostly school-age kids and some older adults. I'm looking after the older people first. They have mortgages and bills. I can say I know most of the people on a fairly personal level. The kids will be okay. There's a good amount of work around for them. We are in a tourism town. Thanks for the kind words and support, Reddit. It helps. Edit 2. Regarding the concern for those who may lose their jobs. We are in a tourism driven region and March is the beginning of our peak tourism season. Yes, I'm concerned for them and their welfare, however I'm very confident they will find work should they want it. As for the older team members who have mortgages etc, I have organized an off-site training session and will encourage job seeking to occur. Those calling me a pussy and other lovely names, meh, your opinion is ill-informed and unimportant. Blow me. Update, my whole team now knows what is potentially coming. Some have found new work already, some have said they'll stand and fight with me. Also, I have discreetly had discussions with the contractor regarding what needs to be done for us to keep the contract, and he has given me a deadline to show X and Y improvements. I'm busting my ass to try and make this happen, at least from my side of things. One of our guys took a work van to rob a bank. He got arrested, and after 5 years of working somewhere else he came back to work for us. So I used to work for an NGO in a government funded program. Shortly before I quit, I found out that the higher ups were actually taking government funded money that was meant for our program and using it on their own non-government funded programs. So essentially they were stealing millions of dollars from the government. I know everyone on our Wi-Fi and their devices and where they've been, coupled with how they are affiliated to our company. My boss does a report daily for the SHIO with my metrics. Part of me wants to know why, part of me doesn't. They have a pathing system that tracks movement for 30 days that I had made for emergency exiting plans. It's not being used for that. Edit. Sorry to cause fear. This can be used for good things. Your shit got stolen? We can find it. You have an emergency medical issue? We can find you and send someone to you quickly. However, I know it isn't being used this way. Edit #2. EU rules are different than US. We're in the US. Edit #3. Apparently iOS rotates their MAC addresses. I'll be now pulling data on that to see what I get. Thanks to the people pointing that out. It may be skewing my data, and I'm always looking for more stringent numbers. Edit #3. Guys, I have to work. I'll answer as I can. That our CEO's speeches are actually written by low-level grunts makes me wonder about all the inspiring leaders' speeches of the past. That my boss is a complete moron. When we figure out a way to accomplish something more efficiently than the set ways, she loses it because she hates change. Like, completely loses it and makes everyone panic while she panics because she is a moron. My boss was / is sleeping with ours head and Thea, both married, not to each other. The reason there's high turnover is because management fired the one competent manager for being too kind. Everyone's passwords. We store them in clear text. It's horrifying. Edit. It's not seeing the passwords themselves that is awful, you donkeys. It's the fact that is a security time bomb. I work in education. My former chairman allowed a female employee to embezzle money from the school. I found out and blew the whistle. I assumed the woman would be fired and the chair would be demoted. Instead, the woman was asked to quit and given a package, and the chair stayed in his position because of his status as a coach. He proceeded to make my job very difficult for the next 5 years until he gave up the chairmanship to someone competent. The woman was his work wife and mistress, who also used to be his student at our school. Manager fired one of my coworkers, let's call him Billy, because her good friend, who works with Billy, didn't like him. It didn't matter that he was never late, was dedicated, smart, hardworking, and didn't gossip. Manager also promoted her other friend, who was our billing person and previously worked retail, to our manager. People's insurance through the company started lapsing, and vacation days were taken without warning. Said people were not in the office those days, when people had a full work day's worth of emails to show for it. If we have to clock in for work at a time, when we are not technically on the schedule, we use what's called a red card. For example, let's say I'm scheduled 2 to 9 on a particular day, and I got called in early. If I tried to punch, I would get an error message. The only people with these red cards are managers, store manager, perishable manager and non-perishable manager. Well, I know the code for the red card, so theoretically I can punch myself in without needing to get it from a manager. The admin password for our laptops. The ad guy from 4 years ago never changed it. My boss stores beer in the server room, because the temperature is always kept cool. Once, instead of receiving my paycheck, I received a file containing every paycheck of everybody in the company. Thus, I knew how much money everybody were making, what benefits they had, etc., including the CEO and high management. My office purposely messes up people's wages to see if A, they're honest about receiving extra, or B, they can save money by not paying it all. It's such a scum thing to do. Just glad it never happened to me. That with a day or two of effort, I could draft a full proposal for eliminating my job and the other 4 people who do my job. It's completely unnecessary and the organization wastes, conservatively, $200,000 a year on salary and benefits for us to perform a very small number of tasks that could easily be delegated elsewhere, or replaced with an outside service. I suspect it's one of those being taken care of situations. The other 4 employees are all women, and have all been there for 15 to 20 years. Nobody wants to pull these old fossils into the office and say you're a grown adult who gets paid a grown adult salary to sit around on Facebook and answer the phone 3 times in an 8-hour shift. Get the fuck out to here. Private sector, the position would have been eliminated a decade ago. I mean, it's nice that I'm employed, but the job is a complete waste of time and money. You know that book Bullshit Jobs? This is it. That the 3rd floor isn't complete yet. A colleague told me how he was reprimanded for talking about it to people not in the know. I wasn't in the know. At a previous job, we had our manager get fired right after returning from maternity leave. She was replaced by the guy that she trained to fill in for her while she was gone. She sent a company-wide email with the pay rate of everyone from the plant manager on down. Asterisk asterisk IT was a shit show. Asterisk asterisk a lot of pay rates were wildly different in management/supervision and maintenance. There were talks of work stop strikes and slowdowns, even threats of unionizing. I believe that this one act led to the eventual closure of the plant. It was a crazy time. There is a removable panel in the restroom that allows access to various pipes in the wall. It also allows you to perfectly hear meetings in the superintendent's office. I've learned lots of juicy things I'm not supposed to know about. Edit. Due to demand, I will tell some of the stuff I learned. Some coworkers were having sex on company property on company time. They thought management wouldn't find out. Management found out. 2. My top boss has anxiety and would practice his speech to my direct supervisor before giving it to everyone. 3. My boss isn't nice behind closed doors. I heard him talk so much shit about my coworkers. The boss makes a whole lot more money than he wants us to believe. If you believe him, he and his family are a hair's width from living under a bridge. Never mind the brand new 70 smart TV for the office. I know the key code to a storeroom I'm not really supposed to. I use it for naps. By jumping from department to department over the years, at my old job I knew a combination of things that no one person was supposed to know. I knew alarm codes, vault combinations, locations of keys, passwords, schedules, location, and functionality of cameras and security systems. Led to a lot of idle daydreaming on bad days of things I could, but never would, do. Only one of the security cameras actually works. The rest are for show. Edit. Morning grammar. Also, at a credit union I worked at, I knew both halves of the combination to the vault. Those security cameras did work for sure though. Second edit. Guys, I work in a call center. There's nothing to rob except extremely outdated computers. Someone has been stealing things from everyone's desks in our office. I set up a teddy cam on someone's desk, with their permission, to find out who was doing it. Turns out it's the owner of the company. Edit. Since a lot of people are asking, I confronted him about it in private. Over the course of 2 to 3 months the majority of things started reappearing, and the stealing came to a stop after that. At least for the most part. Occasionally something would go missing, but it wasn't near as often. My boss has been banging the secretary, who is married, for years, and it's a secret that the secretary's first kid, 14-yo, is my boss' biological child. My boss is also married with kids. Casino worker. There are a disturbing amount of suicides that happen on property. Almost none are reported to the public. The reason my boss won't replace the aging fleet of company cars for people below him is because he wasn't allowed to get the car he wanted, and now he's pouting and nobody is getting new cars. A Jeep Patriot isn't supposed to live to 200,000 miles. The boss masturbates to weird stuff sometimes at his desk and almost always takes a nap after lunch. I've also seen him drinking beer for breakfast. Edit. Guys, it's me. I'm the boss. I found out my coworker on a lower position was getting a few $1,000s more in salary than me. She told me her wage when she left the company. Wrote up a polite but stern email to my boss asking her to not only match it, but increase by a couple of K because I did have a higher position after all, and she did. Sometimes knowing things can be a benefit.